Right. Hello, everybody, and welcome. So obviously we've got Rich on today. So I've been trying to get Rich onto one of these calls for the past kind of 6 months now, and it's took a lot of what should we call it? Duress, maybe a lot of pressure, a lot of text messages, but we got her in the end, and Rich is here, so appreciate it, Rich. But yeah, Rich has obviously got a lot of industry experience, which obviously you guys are on the call. Appreciate that, and that's why you're here, because you know Rich's history, his background, his what he's done for Primis, what he's done for a lot of firms. So he's got a lot of industry experience and a lot of knowledge to share. So that's why obviously I've been quite kind of stringent on getting him on, because this call is for my new age advisor guys who are actually in my paid program, but obviously because I just want to help people and I want to get people to grow their businesses. That's where I get my fulfillment in life, from helping people. So, and Rich can help people, and this is a good medium to do it. So, yeah, thank you, Rich. So yeah, basically all we're going to do is just go through a few questions. Really, I've got some standard questions that I'm going to just go through and ask him. We're just going to have a bit of a chat, and then at the end we'll open it up to you guys. If anybody has got questions for Rich, we'll open it up to you guys, and yeah, you can ask him questions and get feedback from him directly. So yeah, again, appreciate it, Rich. Thank you. I know it took a while, but you know, thanks.
You know, bother.
No, I was thinking anything now.
What it might be worth doing, can I ask everyone to mute while we're recording, while we're doing the Q&A? Because you can get like feedback and stuff. So, but yeah, basically, Rich, first question is, mate, just going back to basics and back to the start, like, just tell us a bit about your background for people that don't know it, and what kind of got you into the industry. What started you off in financial services, mate?
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
First of all, thanks for eventually getting us to come on. I'm gonna nickname you Dan the Rash, because you were all over me and I couldn't escape, so I had to submit. So well done.
It worked in the end, didn't it?
It did. And you bought us a cup of coffee a day as well, which is great. Well, ironically, there's about 4 or 5 people on here who know me, so I'll rattle through my background for the people that don't know me. Started off with another gentleman on here, Nick Brown, with a wonderful company called Allied Dunbar in the late 80s, and was taught how to sell life insurance. And it was fantastic. It was a fantastic company, and I got a brilliant living through it and made some great friends, some of whom are still friends today and run huge companies. So we were trained. It was the best training in the world. We then got taken over by Zurich, which was the start of the rot, because it came very PLC-fied over a period of time, and it became known as the Zurich Advice Network, which was great. And then there was a bit of a gulf, because these things called proc fees came into the industry, because the youngsters on the call won't even realize that you didn't used to get paid for doing a mortgage. It was like a necessary evil that eventually, because you had to assign the life policy to the lender. So you had to do a life policy, which was fantastic. But you didn't get a proc fee. Anyway, proc fees came in, and all of a sudden this massive mortgage industry was launched, where you basically got paid for something that you used to do when you didn't get paid. And it was ridiculous. And the mortgage broker was born, and he didn't want to get involved with pensions, investments, and unit trusts and bonds and Ponzi stuff like that. He just wanted to do transactions. So within Zurich Advice Network, I created something called the Zurich Mortgage Network, which was a very simple, technology-based, do the mortgage, do the protection, and do the buildings and contents in one little thing wrapped up, and it was called ETI, electronic trading something else, I don't know. And it was dead simple. And we ended up with about 1,000 people in that network who were absolutely brilliant at doing mortgages, protection, and GI, because that's what you should do when you do a proper job. I then went to Zurich and said, look, what you need to do now, you need to stop just selling Zurich, and you need to have a panel of protection providers. And because they're stupid, they said, well, why would we do that? We'll get less business. I said, no, you won't. You'll get more business. Well, how will we do it? I said, half the lads are already using Legal and General, Scott Prov, Scott and all. They're already doing it. So give your head a shake. Anyway, they didn't. So the then chief executive retired, and he rang me up 4 months later and said, Rich, do you still want to do that mortgage network? And I went, yeah, why? He says, I've got you 5 million quid from the Bank of Scotland and do what you want with it, crack on and build a network. And I went, oh, okay. What do I do with that? So got around the kitchen table with some brokers and some IT experts. And I just said to each other, I said, right, can you both tell each other what you want? What tech do you want? What product mix do you want? And just tell each other what you want. And when you've done it, tell me you've made it. And they did. And that was on my kitchen table. And then in 2004, I think it was, we launched a network called Home of Choice, which was mine. And my ambition at the time was I wanted to have 10% of the UK mortgage market and 10% of the UK protection market. How we were going to get it, I had no idea. What did we do when we first started? We just worked our balls off and just went for it, because that's what you got to do when you're starting a business off. So if there's anybody on the call who's starting a business off, I'll give you a tip. There's 24 hours in a day and there's 7 days in a week. Just get stuck in, because that's what you got to do when you first start off. Yeah. We did extremely well.
I think too many people want to get the ducks in a row, don't they, before they start a business. But it's just about having that vision and just
do it
where it takes you. Just go for step one. But
just do it. You know, if you want to learn to swim, just jump in.
Yeah.
Sharp, learn to swim when you jump in. So that's what we did. We went for it, and it was magnificent. It was the best thing since sliced bread. And there's a couple of guys in here, Johnny, who I work with now, and Nick, who were part of that whirlwind. And then 2008 came and the world shut. And we nearly shut, except LSL came in and said, is it too late? And I said, not really. So they rescued us from the rocks, which was really scary and really horrible, but that's what happens. And from then on, we carried on building. We acquired Pink Home Loans. We acquired Personal Touch. We acquired everybody under the sun. And we kept growing and growing till we got to 2,900 brokers. And that was me. That was me swan song when we got that big. It was an interesting journey. But that's my background. I live in Northumberland. I've got a son who built a mortgage business and sold it for millions to Mortgage Advice Bureau. I've got a daughter who's an operations director for a big university student accommodation down in London. And I've got a young daughter who's 17 who wants to be a footballer. So that's me, home life. And I'm married to a lass from Limerick, and she keeps us right. Rachel Mullen will be smiling at that one. So that's me. That's how I got started. And I loved every minute of it.
And if you've got some background in sports yourself, in football, I know.
I have. I was a nearly footballer. I nearly played for Sheffield United professionally. I got the manager's office and he said, sorry, son, we're going to let you go. So I became a semi-professional footballer, and I became a professional tennis coach as well. And then I thought, shit, I better get a qualification. So I qualified as a PE and maths teacher, and I still continue playing semi-pro football and tennis coaching and anything else I could make money on. And then I met a couple of lads who were in sales, driving better cars than me, wearing nicer suits. I thought, I'll have a bit of that. And the rest is history. And I joined Allied Dunbar. Never looked back. Never looked back.
And so what was the transition to Primis then? Was that after...
We went crash. We went crash in the crash when every bank went crash. LSL rescued us. They had a brand on the shelf called First Complete. So Home of Choice was reversed into First Complete because it already had permissions. So we had continuity. I had a couple of sticky weeks where the brokers didn't get paid and I had to ring them all up and apologize. That was hard. But they stuck with us. And then eventually it evolved into Primis. And yeah, so Primis was born out of First Complete, Pink Home Loans, Personal Touch, all amalgamating as one.
Yeah.
And then away it went, yeah. So.
And kind of what, obviously Primis, everybody knows Primis. It was in the mortgage world in the UK. It's one of the biggest.
It was the biggest. It was the biggest.
Was it? Right.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Very small, very shortly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your kind of proudest kind of moment within kind of journey?
Two things really. When I found out before I semi-retired that we had 1 in 9 of all UK mortgages, I was really proud of that because I set out to get 1 in 10. And by definition, I reckon we must have been getting 1 in 8 of every protection policy that was advised, not the call center, non-advised stuff, of the advised protection. I reckon we got the 1 in 8 of that, but the providers couldn't really tell us that. I was extremely proud of that. But I think my proudest thing was for the culture. We created a culture that was like unique.
Yeah.
All the brokers loved it, and all the staff loved it. And when you had that formula, it was like we were unbeatable. Like, it was great. We had fun. We had a laugh, and it was everybody loved going to work, and everybody loved giving clients advice and earning loads of money. You know, we celebrated people being successful. No harm in that. We wanted people to earn loads and loads of money by looking after loads and loads of clients. So my proudest thing is the culture that we all created together. And there's 4 or 5 people on the call here, and I miss them dearly a bit. But you know, I've turned a new chapter now. But yeah, I was proud of that. And everybody used to tell us we were the best network, all the providers and all that, when they were on the stands and giving out your free pens and that. You know, when you got to talk to them, they said, you know what? By miles, you're the best network. And I thought, no, thanks very much. So that's my proudest bit.
Yeah, because that is everybody needs to go to work and enjoy what they do. And you, as the top guy, has to kind of create that, like you say, that culture and make it fun to come to work, because people want to enjoy what they do. If they go into work and they've got a shit boss who's telling them what to do, and it's just a negative environment, they're not going to want to come to work. And people, it's a big part of your life, isn't it? Your work, you need to be able to enjoy.
It was my life, and I think that there's a few of you on the call who want to build big businesses. You know, it's not a bed of roses, because sometimes you've got to put a brave face on when you're managing an absolute shitstorm in the background, but you can't show that shitstorm to your troops, so they get worried.
Yeah,
you always get through them, and it's, you know, people who want to build scale, you have to be prepared to deal with the unexpected, because if it just happens.
The unexpected has got to be expected, isn't it? Really?
The good news is you just deal with it.
Well, you have to,
yeah, you do. My philosophy is, no matter how hard it's going to be, unless it's going to kill you, you can deal with it. Unless it's death, you're all right.
Yeah, well, and
get on with it.
It's not going to be death, so you just
yeah. So yeah,
and then obviously we're going on a bit of a journey. So that's obviously where you're at with Primis. Like, what's life like for you now after you're not with after?
It's I've created fun again.
That's the key. That's the key to life.
Yeah, I'm enjoying myself. I've got a lovely balance, and it's gorgeous holidays, and you know, it's really fun. I've got about 10-ish clients, of which Johnny's one of my clients. I'm helping him build a mini Primis that he wants to do, so that'll happen. And I've got 3 other smaller networks that want to be big networks, and they've just brought me in to say, what do we do here, Rich? How do we create this here? What do we do? What are the pitfalls? And I said, are you ready?
Well,
I'm doing that.
You've done it before, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got the scar. I've got the scars. But like over the last, I don't know, 6 months or so, it breaks my heart. I'm inundated at the moment with Primis staff that used to work for me saying, Rich, can you get me out of here? No. The first thing he says, can you come back? And I go, not on your Nelly. And then they say, can you get me out of here? I said, well, what sort of job are you looking for? So I'm gradually helping people find a job where they love going to work again.
Yeah. And
I'm swamped, would not be the word, with me pals, the brokers, who were basically saying, Rich, can you get us out of here? And I'm just saying, whoa. You know, what do you want to do? Do you want to be in a network? Do you want to be DA? Do you want to build a business? What do you want to do? And then I can give them impartial advice as to where I think they should go, because they're just not happy. And it's like, life's too short to not enjoy what you do.
Yeah.
And if you don't enjoy
it's an essential component to what you do, isn't it? You need to enjoy what you do.
I always say to people, if you've had a crap day, it's your fault. It's as simple as that.
Basically.
It's as simple as that, because you can change something. If you've had a crap day, okay, don't whinge and moan, do something about it.
Yeah.
Nobody else will. So that's my philosophy. So I'm swamped. I'm building. I'm consulting with the likes of Johnny. I'm I do a piece of work at the moment, which really excites me, where any firm that's looking for an exit, then I've got a big pot of money where we're looking at firms that want to exit either immediately or over a period of time, where we'll get in and have a look and say, look, why do you want to exit? What does your product density look like? What's your persistency look like? Is it a good business? Or is it just you want to get out and get a few quid? So I'm enjoying that. My philosophy is for people that work with me, I'll double the protection. Whatever protection you're doing, I'll double that in 2 years, guaranteed. And if it's a bigger business, we'll double your business in 3 years. Because that's what I did every 3 years when it was Primis, Home of Choice, First Complete. We doubled every 3 years. And when I work with people, that's what I offer them. And, I'm like a rash. Johnny and I fell out last week over a big decision he had to make. He made the right decision this morning. I fall out with a few of my clients. That's what happens. But I just say, look, if it was me, I'd do this. If you do it that, you'll get that. It's just experience. So I'm loving life, helping people grow, helping people look after the customers and make a load of money in the meantime. And I'm also building a will writing network. I want 1,000 will writers just for the crack. Right?
It's not falling Rich. If you use Rich to improve your business and improve your footfall and get you to where you want to be, it's not falling out. It's just like a difference of opinion. It's Rich will support you and what you decide, and it's like it's just taking all the doubt out of your decisions. Like,
yeah,
like you yourself, Rich, you're a mentor to my firm. You're not just a sales bloke that comes in.
Yeah,
you're a mentor to my firm.
Yeah.
The way Rich works. See, if any of you guys want to build a big sustainable business that you can sell in a few years, get in contact with Rich. He might take you on, he might not. He's really particular, but the advice and that you get, like,
I think you were. Thanks for those lovely words.
Years of mistakes.
Yeah, that's it. It's helping other people learn from my mistakes, and I've made loads.
Yeah.
I've made absolutely loads of them. Lots of things I would regret, but you can't regret. You just get on with it. So it's my role is
part of the role, and that's part of being a mentor, isn't it? Is making people not give it. That's what you pay for, is avoiding those mistakes that you could cost you a lot more than what you'd pay a mentor for.
No.
Is you pay for someone to avoid those mistakes, which is a lot cheaper than going through those mistakes, and that time, which is the main thing. The time working shit out by yourself.
Fucked up, hand over fucking fist, and then since Rich come in, you run something past Rich, and he just lays like a less clear volume over it, and we're thinking, why the fuck did I not think of that?
Yeah.
Rich has been through it.
Yeah. Been through it.
Saves you years. So
that's the value.
Yeah. I think people say to me, "What?"
Value,
yeah. Thanks, Johnny. People say to me, "What do you do?" And I just say, "I build jigsaws." People give us a box. And all the pieces are all jumbled up. And I'll say, "Right, what do you want this picture to look like?" And they'll say, "Well, in Johnny's case, we're going to build." I'll be pessimistic. 250 sellers. We're going to sell his business for millions. And is it going to happen all day? Well, I need to know what the shape of that looked like so I can put the pieces in the jigsaw and explain to him what we've got to do first. Because the other characteristic you've got to have in business, you've got to be impatient. He's impatient. Elliot Allsop's impatient. Rachel's impatient. Nick Brown, you're all impatient. That's a massive ingredient for being successful. Get it done.
You're going to die at the end of the day, aren't you? You need to get shit done.
Years for that.
Yeah.
Next 2 to 3 years, I'm going to sell my firm for like 4 million quid.
Yeah.
Thanks to Rich Coulson. That would take me probably 17 years to figure all that shit out.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing. You have to take on a mentor. If you want to build a firm that you want to sell, you need a mentor that's done it before.
Yeah.
So you do.
And
Right, you want to keep asking us some questions, mate?
Just going back on that in terms of like what John was mentioning there, in terms of having an exit in mind. Obviously, that's what a lot of I think firms and advisors don't have in mind at the minute because they're just dealing with, they've got the shutters on, they're dealing with the day to day, but not thinking about the long term. And obviously, well, I know what you're going to say to this, but you'd suggest that that is something that people need to have in mind, isn't it? The exit.
Massive. And it didn't used to be possible in the mortgage and protection world. The exit was always available in mine and Nick Brown's world, which was like pensions and investments, and you cashed out with funds under management. Well, debts on a platform are worth more than funds under management. Because when you got your remortgage book, your PT book, I'll come on to that in a minute, and product density, you need product density of at least 5. You got 5 products in the house, that client's never going to move. If you've just got the mortgage, cross your fingers because the lender's going to nick it. When you're not looking, they're going to nick that PT when you're not looking. But if you've got 5 products, they're going nowhere. So a definition of a business, it's something that pays you money when you're not there. So Rachel's in Spain because Rachel's built a magnificent business. So she's getting money in. Now, you can either continue with an income coming in forever, ever, and ever, where you pay somebody in your firm to look after it, or you cash your chips and you sell it to somebody else who thinks it's a viable concern. So when I work with people now, I say, look, what do you want to do? Do you want to continue an income for the rest of your life, or do you want to cash your chips? Well, I want to cash my chips. How much do you want? Well, I want X. And it's always inflated because brokers are like me. They always inflate it. I say, well, look, it's not worth that now. And then I find out how much they really want. And then I say, right, let's create that. Let's create 5, 6, 7 income streams for your business. Because if you're just a one-stop shop, nobody's going to buy that. Nobody.
It's just a commodity because everybody else is a one-stop shop. It's just, you've got no extra value. Then
So exit for a proper firm, And do you know what? When you do it, it's magnificent. I mean, my son was lucky enough to do it. Not lucky. He was destined to do it. He's brilliant at what he does. And when you get like X million quid, that was one of my proudest moments as well, actually, mate.
Yeah.
When your son sells his business for a few million quid, you know, well, I haven't done everything wrong. He might have learned a bit off this. He'd never say that, but like he might have. But that was good crack. So I keep going. I'm conscious. I don't want to rabbit on. Keep asking us questions.
Yeah. Well, you're here to rabbit on. But it's strategic rabbiting on. And just again, just kind of feeding from what you've said there in terms of, because I obviously speak to a lot of brokers and I ask them questions about the business and how they're kind of generating the revenue. And a lot of them, in terms of the protection, is kind of a back thought, kind of a secondary thought.
Yeah.
So again, you're big on the protection. So just elaborate a bit on how kind of important that is to have that kind of mindset to at the end of the day, they can make a shit ton of money out of protection, can't they? But I think a lot of brokers just have that one-track mind of just going for the mortgage and the protection's like a secondary thought.
Well, exactly. And for me, that's wrong. Like, I mean, if they just do that, they're stupid. But the mindset has to be created that you have to believe that when you give somebody a 300 grand debt or a 200 grand debt, you have to believe that should be protected. In the event of death, cancer, heart attack, stroke, you have to believe that the self-employed bloke who gets jack shit when he's off sick should get 65% or whatever of his earnings. You have to believe that. You have to believe that when 1 in 2 of your client bank gets diagnosed with cancer, you have to believe that you're going to deposit a massive amount of money in their bank account. If you don't believe in it, forget it. So it's a cultural thing for me. And again, I'll mention Nick Brown. We were brought up on this. And it's not, if you've never actually paid out a claim, then you'll still not be 100% on this. But when you paid out a claim and a crying widow is saying thank you, or a businessman who's just been diagnosed with bowel cancer says thank you, you know you're on a good one. Yeah. And when your self-employed plumber tells you that without that income protection plan you did for us, Rich, I would have lost my business, that's when the penny drops. But you have to build it into your process. And these bloody mortgage brokers who say, oh, I haven't got time. I'll do it when I get the offer letter. They've got everything at work. Okay. It's all complete and utter bollocks. It's complete and utter bollocks. Because if they do a proper job for someone, you've got to talk about protection and you've got to make it come alive. Because that's the real deal. Anyone can do a mortgage. You just press Trigold at 27 Tech or whatever else you use, and it ends up going to Halifax. I mean, I'm not being disrespectful, but like the lenders are making it easier so they can nick your clients. If you do a proper protection job for a client and you put the policies in trust and you do their will, that lender's never going to nick that client, and no other broker's going to nick your client. But if you've just got the mortgage, and I had a lot of calls last year saying, Rich, can you help us? What's the matter? Well, I rang up after 6 months to get the PT and the lender had already nicked it. What can we do? I said, well, you should have rang them earlier. You should do an annual review with your clients. What? The mortgage isn't due for 2 years. Rubbish. They get an annual review every year. If your car's 3-year-old, you have to have an MOT by law. What's more important, your car or yourself? To have a financial MOT every year. And these are the things that the mortgage brokers don't do, because they just flick another mortgage on. They flick it, but they're too short-sighted, man.
Yeah.
They're too short-sighted. Sorry, I was getting passionate.
No, get But yeah, like you say, I think it's just having that, because obviously, yes, there's a lot of money involved in protection, but I think it's seeing it from the other side as advisors. You get fulfillment. For me, obviously, I'm in a similar role. I just get fulfillment from helping people, and there's no better way you can help someone than protecting them that way. And it's having that kind of mindset. I think I can call it service over sales, and having that in your head that you're saving families.
People do 40 quid a month on their dog or their cat.
Yeah,
they do 15 quid a month on a dishwasher warranty. And I had mortgage brokers saying, well, they couldn't afford it, Rich. What are you on about, man? It's because they don't know how to sell it.
yeah.
The reason they don't know how to sell it is they haven't been shown. So if you're running a business and you're bringing somebody in to be a, inverted commas, protection advisor, well, if you absolutely script them word for word like Johnny does now, they haven't got a clue how to do it. They'll say, do you want some life insurance? Would you like a mortgage protection policy? No. How about an IPP? Well, not really. Do you want joint life, first death, or 2 single lives? What does that mean? You scare them.
Yeah, too many options, too many.
You have to learn. You just have to learn. So, if you die tonight, what do you want to happen to Matthew and Harriet?
Mm.
If you crash the van tomorrow, you're self-employed, yeah? You crash the van tomorrow, yeah? When does your money stop coming in? Straight away. When do your bills stop? They don't. You've got to learn what to say. You've got to be a specialist. And if you have a bigger firm, unless you're Superman like Rachel, if you've got the bigger the firm, you need a mortgage specialist, and then you need a protection specialist, because you can't be both. And then you need a buildings and content specialist. You can't be all things to all men when you've got scale.
No. According to the FCA, we have to be allowed to do disruptive sales. We have to be allowed to make people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
As to how they wake up. And that is disruptive sales. The FCA allows us to do that. So you don't want to be selling just life-only policies, which there's a...
You got to do a proper job, Dan. Thanks, Johnny. Proper job.
Yeah, proper job. Yeah.
Do a proper job.
Yeah, you need to sell on emotions, don't you? You need to get group positive, emotional. That's the thing, rather than logic. People don't buy on logic; they buy on emotions.
I mean, we touched on it today in Costa Coffee in Doncaster, and I'm big on. I used to take the piss out of Paddy McGuinness. You know that program, like No Lucky, No Likey. Yeah. If you want to be a proper professional protection advisor, then you should be looking people in the eye.
Yeah.
I'm not decrying call centers and stuff like that. How they do them volumes on the phone is beyond me. But if you want to be a proper protection seller, you need an emotional connection, which is eye contact. And if I'm calling me old fashioned, if there's a him and a her, if that's a relationship, you need eye contact with the her, because she's the chancellor, she's the carer, she's the mother, she's the decision maker.
Boss.
She's the boss. She absolutely is. And for me, say, right, all protection sales now, you're not allowed to look anyone in the eye. You've just got to do it on the phone. For me, that would be catastrophic. Well, your mortgage brokers, you don't need to look somebody in the eye when you're saying, well, do you want Halifax or Nationwide? It's a transaction. So protection is a skill. And you've got to learn the bloody thing. And it takes months to be like me and Nick Brown, where we were bred on it. And that's, anyway, sorry. Eye contact.
Yeah,
By-
that's how you connect to people. That's,
You have to
yeah.
put numbers across to your client. And
You do.
that Your 4% chance of using life only policy for retirement
Yeah.
age. Your 50-50 using that critical illness policy before retirement age. You should put all your money into cancer cover. You know, and that's what you have to explain to clients.
Yeah, doing a proper job, Dan.
Yeah, finding out the needs, doing a proper fact find, and selling to the needs, and getting, like I say, pulling on the emotions, which you're not, like I say, it's not sell, it's what they need, and if they need it, they need it.
Yeah. Keep your questions coming, mate. You've only got 20 minutes, I think.
Yeah. So in terms of like lead generation, which is obviously a big part of this whole process, which is obviously that at the end of the day, the growth of the business relies on generating business, but the right business. Like, what are your thoughts on the way advisors are generating leads at the minute in terms of?
Well, you're the right. Okay, you're the expert in social media and generating leads via that area, and it's incredible what you guys can do. So that's something that I'm not competent in, so I can't really comment on that. I think if somebody's buying leads long term, then there's something wrong with the business model.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to buy leads, you should just do that to get yourself kick-started. Because then if you have a process where when you sit down with a client, you know, and you talk to them about choosing the trustees for the life policies and choosing the executors and the guardians for their will, by nature of that, you're going to get 3 referrals or 4 referrals every time. So however you get your first batch of leads, fine, but follow your referral processes. So your acquisition cost then becomes nil, because a referral is nil cost. But if you really want to go for it, then you can do a refer a friend scheme that I do with the guys I work with, where Sky doubled their subscriptions in 1 year when they offered every single size Sky subscriber 100 quid to recommend a friend. They doubled in a year. So another thing I suggest you do is try a refer a friend scheme, because everybody wants 100 quid, whether they use it for Amazon, Just Eat, Marks and Spencer's, whoever, Waitrose if you're posh, whatever. People like an incentive to do things like that. So lead gen introducers, yeah, they're fine, but they cost you. But if your introducer is going to give you loads and loads of proper clients in bulk, i.e. accountants and bookkeepers who are going to let you loose on like 500 self-employed clients or limited company directors, then get in. Do a deal with a bookkeeper, with the accountant. Estate agents, you know, love them or hate them. A lot of people, and I'll come on to what I think is going to happen in the market. A lot of people that, you know, when they go to buy or sell a house, it's an ideal opportunity to get introduced to you. But make sure you do the right deal. Make sure you don't give all your money to the estate agent so you can shout at you and complain. All right? Well, on that, my view is, we all know what happened on the 4th of July. The idiots changed sides in the House of Commons. So one set of idiots now outnumber another set of idiots. But if you ignore that, whoever's in charge, ignore all that nonsense, right? The economy is really strong. It's really strong. And if you're in the mortgage market right now, you're in the right place. Because Rachel Reeves is committed to 300,000 new houses a year for 5 years. 1.5 million new houses for over 5 years. That is boom time for the mortgage industry. Boom time. Because not everybody who buys one of them new houses is a first-time buyer, which means another house is going to get sold. So the housing market, excuse me, the mortgage market, it's the right place to be as a door opener. Because the other thing that really used to miff me in the last mortgage boom, I'll be saying to the mortgage brokers, why haven't you done any protection? So I'm too busy. I said, what? You're too busy to protect the widow. You're too busy to protect somebody against cancer because you got another mortgage. Employ somebody and give them a job and do the mortgages. But it's the best door opener you can have, as long as you just see it as a door opener to protection. Because a protection is a proper job. A mortgage is half a job, in my view. I'm old fashioned. Well, that's my view.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But so be prepared. I reckon in 3 years, guys and girls on the call, your mortgages will have doubled in 3 years. And then by 5 years, it'll be rock and roll time again. Interest rates will probably come down next month. And I reckon they might come down again, which gives people a feel-good factor. She's going to give all the government employees an above inflation wage rise. It's happening. So yeah, right place, right time, right now for you guys. But make sure you don't become a one-trip mortgage pony because you'll miss the opportunity. Amen. Right, next question.
A good time to be a broker then, right now.
Oh, it's an unbelievable time to be a broker.
Yeah.
The biggest threat to the mortgage brokers at the moment are the lenders.
Yeah.
They want you to give them your first mortgage, and then their strategy is, how do we nick it? And they'll nick it off you. Believe you me. Yeah. And then the next strategy is, how can we cross-sell? So when the lenders say, oh, come on our app, come on our Bank of Santander bloody app and all this, or the Aviva app or the whatever app, right? The only reason they want your punters on that app is so they can sell them something else. So they can sell them some B and C. So they can sell them some life insurance for £5 a month nonsense that isn't written in trust. So get your app better than the lenders' apps and get your call in 8 months before, 9 months before to stop the lenders from nicking your client, because that's your biggest threat. Your biggest threat. So protect yourself against it by doing a proper job for your client. Give them an annual health check, an annual MOT on their finances. The lenders won't get near it then because they don't advise, they just nick. Imagine when this goes on LinkedIn. Oh dear me. Never mind. I'm telling the truth. I'm telling the truth.
You can't go far wrong by telling the truth and being authentic. So you're just trying to help people, really. And I know some people have talked about in the past years, talked about wills and getting wills as kind of a shape to hook people in. And
I had this vision. I had this vision when I was at Primis. There's two absolutely fantastic firms I was really proud of. One was Dunn and McCarthy. I'll give them a plug. Nicky and Alex. And the other one was Darren up in Newcastle, Darren Williams. And they did like loads and loads of wills. And I'm thinking, why isn't everybody doing that? So whilst I've been in my sabbatical, I thought, well, how do I do this? How can I build this properly? So I've now built with Clyde Ponder at CTT, where every mortgage and protection broker can have their own will writing business, where they learn how to do it properly. But I teach them how to get a referral properly to guardians, executors. I'm even using AI. There's an avatar of me. Can you believe that? Elliot Allsop's going, no chance. Honestly, I promise you. And it's just taking it to the next level. Because why would you not sell a product that 74% of people haven't got, i.e. a will, and 100% of them want one? So why wouldn't you go into there? And it's wall-to-wall referrals. And it's so exciting. And I've got this vision of having 1,000. Johnny's got 20. A couple of my other clients have got like 10 or so. I want 1,000 will writers who do a proper job. Because for me, if you're talking to a client and you say, right, tell me about your protection portfolio. And they say, well, I've got a joint life first death for me mortgage debt. Okay, cool. I've got a single life on me for £200,000 and it's in trust. And I've got a single life on my wife for 20 grand a year for 17 years, family income benefit. And it's in trust. And we also have our will with the same person. I'm out of there. There's no business in there for me because they're getting looked after. They're getting absolutely looked after. But when you go and see someone, tell me about your life policies. Got this thing for legal in general. What does it do? I've got no idea. When did you get it? When we took the mortgage out. Well, why did you do it? I don't know. The bloke just said we needed it. Right, we'll have a look at that. And that's the difference. So for me, the will, I used to do it with the lads. It's a protective shield around everything that everybody has. And it's the most important piece of paper their family has. Because when there's a death, I work with a lovely fella called Johnny Needham. Johnny and Andrew Needham. They run the Money Group. Their father was buried last Monday. And the two of them were in bits. And anyway, I was like that when my dad died. Okay? And Johnny said, he says, Rich, he calls me Gaffer. He says, Gaffer, if we hadn't had a will, I can't imagine the shitstorm that we would have had to manage.
Stress.
Exactly. So the best time for your clients to do a will is when they're alive.
Yeah.
And I've got this other lad who works with me from Pontefract. You'll know him, Nick, Kale Carlisle. I said, right, we're going to do a phone session on wills. He said, what do we say? I said, well, you tell me when you've done one and see how successful it was. And one of the lads, young Matt, he rang his clients up and he said, have you got one? And they went, no. He says, do you want one? They went, yeah. And that was it. He ran 20 people and he got 15 appointments because they all wanted the will and they hadn't got one. It's like, eh? But I'm sure you can help with social media and all the stuff you post and all that lot. If you're in Primis, you need to have a separate company. If you're a DA or you're in another work, I don't think you do, but like, do it properly because
yeah, it's such an aim doing the wills as well. It's just it's one kind of sales transaction in a way, but you can even offer the will for next to nothing. And once you've got in front of someone,
If you're on
we-
premise, you need to leave the fucking company.
we teach you how to do it.
Company, and we'll mentor you with Richard and me and everyone else. And we'll do wills, we'll do trusts, we'll do seculars, we'll do guardians.
Yeah.
And we'll make you an expert in every last
Well,
thing of it.
Make it part of your portfolio. Make it part of your portfolio.
and like you say, in terms of the social media stuff, you're putting that out as an offer, a free will, and you've
Not
got
free, not
got
free,
in front of someone.
not free.
Oh, complimentary.
Complimentary.
Yeah, I remember-
Free, free means cheap. Complimentary means you get it complimentary as a client. It's a lot, yeah. Because otherwise, they're never going to do it. They won't go to the lawyer and get charged a fortune and wonder where they're going to park the car in town. So they never get around to doing it. And then somebody dies and they just go, God, I wish we'd done that will. Because everything just gets like locked up. It's mental.
But it's what comes after the will as well, because it's just getting in front of someone, getting in front of, seeing someone's eyeballs, building that bit of trust. And then once you've got one sale at someone, it's not really a sale because they say it's free, complimentary. But
if you've got a client bank, if you've got a client bank, it's the easiest appointment in the world. Okay? And when you do it, it's the easiest, simplest way in the world of getting 2 or 3 referrals. It's so simple. It really is.
Yeah.
The challenge you're going to have now is with this mortgage market that's going to boom, is making sure you still do it. Because the mortgage market is going to boom. Get ready. Get ready. It's going to be amazing. Just watch the builders' shares. Watch the share price of the builders.
Rich, fuck up! It's not about fucking being able to write wills. It's being able to look after your client. And that's the main thing.
Yeah, giving them what they need.
Look after
Yeah.
your client every step of the way. So they have these, they might have £50,000 worth of assets. They might have £500,000 worth of assets. Doesn't matter. You look after them every step of the way. That until that has to go really specialized. Once it goes really specialized, you have a rich market, but I CCC, and they'll look after all the really specialized stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Until that, you can do all yourself, you know, and that's the big thing. And then they'll tell all their mates about what you did, and that's where you want to get to.
Yeah.
Somebody saying to their mate, going, I just set this up, but my advisor never set that up for me. Can I use your guy? And I go, yeah, of course you use my guy. My guy wants you like hell. So and that's where you go. And that's
Exactly.
where referrals drip in.
That's it.
You got your last few questions, Dan?
Yeah, we'll just make it a quick one because obviously we're at 10 to, let's say, I want to open it up for a few questions at the end. But obviously the last one really, mate, is just about the importance of like advice you'd give on building a team, the importance of it, and kind of how people would go in terms of the next step if they are kind of a one-man band and they kind of feel the pressure and they're doing all sorts. What would be the first step that they take in terms of building a team and the advantages of building a team?
It's first of all, it's really hard because normally a prolific salesperson is not necessarily a prolific sales manager or a prolific people person.
Yeah, it can't be.
They have to be driven and you know, they're single-minded, and that doesn't necessarily bode well for being a gaffer or a manager. So your first protocol is you've got to have good backup admin staff, and you've got to have that relationship with them because they have to do all the stuff that, you know, you should be doing what only you can do. You should not be touching any applications. You should be process anything. You should have a brilliant backup. Now, as you create your asset where Remos come in, you shouldn't be doing those Remos and PTs. Somebody else should be doing them for you because you're too expensive to do them. So when you've got enough of them in terms of volume to create a job for someone, then you look at bringing somebody in. So my advice, if you're looking at building teams and things like that, is first of all, create the opportunity or give them the opportunity to do it themselves. Talk to them every day, because it's a very when we all started, it gets lonely. So if you're a boss, you've got a responsibility to talk to people. Talk to them every day, because they're like the grand old Duke of York, aren't they? They're either up or they're down. Your early days and months in sales, you're either high as a kite or you're lower than a snake's belly. So if you're bringing people in, you need to care for them. That's the big word. And then managing them is caring for them, because they'll have good days and bad days. And then as you get more of them, first of all, you have to decide if that's what you want, because your skill mix has to change. Or if you want a lot more of them, then you might have to bring somebody in to do that for you. Have like departmental heads or managers. It depends how big you want to be. But for me, don't bring anybody in if you're not going to care for them, because it's a nightmare. And then make sure you have a contract with them. So when you fall out, because you always fall out, when you fall out, you don't have to fall out personally. You just get the contract out the top drawer and say, look, this is what we agreed. So now we've parted, bang, 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 job done. So a rigid contract, care for them and manage them and help them succeed. Find out what their goals are. I'm big on that. If you haven't got any goals, you can't score. And the thrill of sport is scoring a goal or just missing. The thrill of the golf on Sunday, if you watch the golf, was, oh, I just missed it. It just went next to the pin or whatever. That's the thrill. So if you have got people that work with you, make sure they've got their goals and remind them about them and make them visual, because if they've got goals that they're striving for, you'll get more out of them. And just care for them and talk to them. And, you've got to kiss a few frogs. You'll lose some. It's hard.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing that you mentioned there, is what you're best at is where you're going to get your most value from, and putting your time into the thing that you're best at, rather than putting your time into things that you might not be good at, that's not generating you much. Like admin, I think that's one of the first things that a lot of brokers are wasting a shit ton of time on, dealing with loads of admin stuff that they're just overqualified to do, and they're doing a task that's worth, 20, 30 quid an hour, where they could be spending things on generating business or doing things that are worth £1,000 an hour. But yeah, they're spending it in the wrong time, in the wrong places.
A couple of guys on the call will have seen Michelle Toll. Hi, Michelle. Will have heard me say this, and I use the dentist's analogy when I explain this. So when the dentist first starts off, he basically has to do everything, and somehow get some people in the chair where he can do the fillings, the extractions, or whatever, and make his money. Then he's got to write everything up and make his appointments and everything, right? But a proper dentist practice, the dentist just sees the people for the expensive work that only he is qualified to do. Right? He doesn't then run next door and do the dental hygienist work and polish the teeth and whiten them, because somebody else can be trained to do that who makes less money than him. He doesn't then book the appointments for the clients as they go out and then try and sell them some floss or toothpaste. No. He gets other people to do those jobs. So if you're serious about building a business, you need to be doing what only you can do. And start and think about delegating the rest. And delegation is a really hard skill, because you think nobody can do it like you can.
Yeah.
You think they'll do it badly.
Yeah, people think,
but
you probably can't, but you need to just take that hit, just to free you up to, like you said.
They probably can't initially, but if you want a business that is sustainable, and it's just you in it doing all the sales, nobody's going to buy that. And when you go on holiday, no income's going to come in. So you have to look at your business and allocate people into the proper roles. You do it over a period of time, but you should only be doing what you can do. And as you get more successful, only do the things you enjoy. Stop doing the stuff you don't enjoy, because life's too short. Delegate the rest, do what you're good at, and think, right, unless the mortgage is 400 grand, I'm not doing it. Unless it's an £80 a month life, I'm not doing it. I'm delegating that to and I'm not touching a PT for half a proc. Why would I touch a PT for half a proc when I can do £80 a month from Mr. and Mrs. Jones, who were 2 Guardian referrals. It's like, what? What are you doing that for?
Yeah.
So you employ somebody to do all your PTs and defend against the lenders. So my advice to you all is get in your helicopter, right? And have a little look about what your business looks like now and think, right, what would I change? Because unless you change it, nobody else will. And then project it forward a year, 2 years. What do you want it to look like? What income do you want it to be generating with you whilst you're in Spain like Rachel is? She's a genius, okay? When do you want to sell it? And if you want to sell it, how much do you want? Or do you just want a recurring income? One of my clients, he gets £12,000 a month on protection accruals before he gets out of bed because he only ever took protection on the drip. Genius. Because he doesn't want to worry about a clawback. Oh, I used to get this from the London brokers. Oh, I don't do protection. Why not? Oh, I might get a clawback.
I've heard that.
Well, you're only going to get a clawback if you missell it.
Yeah.
You only get a clawback if you don't put it in trust normally. So anyway,
Yeah, if it's sold the right way, you don't have to worry about that.
that's my final advice. Get in your helicopter, have a look at what you're currently doing, look what it's going to look like in 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, and where you need to change it. Have a plan and change it because we're a long time dead. And if you keep putting up with what you don't want, it's your fault.
And
It's
I think
absolutely your fault.
just on the back of that, I think a lot of brokers are, in terms of the business growth and dealing with they're taking on whatever comes their way in terms of, like we talked about, buying leads, just taking on friends and family referrals, and the customer profiles and the customer values are just average, where they could be spending that same amount of time because at the end of the day, it takes a broker the same amount of time to place a 100 grand mortgage than it does a £1 million mortgage. So we may as well be going for those bigger deals and working less and earning more and spending
and then when you get that client that you like to deal with and you work the referral processes, guess what type of people they refer you to?
Yeah, more of the better, bigger,
more of them.
Yeah,
work on your just tweak your processes. A lot of you have been in business for a number of years and you are very successful. So all you need to do is a little tweak and just decide what that tweak is and tweak and get on with it. Because you're all brilliant at what you do. If you're starting off, then you need to talk to Dan or you ask somebody's advice. But like if you're buying leads in 12 months' time, and that's your only source of business, something's wrong.
Yeah, short tricks. That's it.
I've been on sales Zooms with like hundreds of people, and I watch the chat lines, and I get little messages in. Can anybody recommend where I should buy some leads? I'm like, oh my God, why has this person joined the industry? If they're working in a firm, it's criminal because somebody should be feeding them with leads. So, but yes, when you first get started, Nick and I had to ring 100 people up that we knew. That was our prospecting plan. It's a lot more sophisticated than that now. You've got LinkedIn, you've got social media, you've got all sorts. But think, okay, how do I get from that good client to another 1 or 2 with them? And there's lots of ways you can do that. And that's how I help people. It's good crack. By the way, you've got no competition. Yeah. Zero competition. No competition at all for what you do. So fill your boots. Fill your boots.
What questions? So we'll open it up. What questions has anybody got for Rich? We'll keep it open the next 5-10 minutes. Has anybody got anything for Rich?
It's not a question, it's an observation, actually, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Go for it now.
So I've been in meetings. I've attended meetings with Rich for maybe 20 years, and I've never ever been to one where I've not picked something up. I've always got something. And what I've picked up today which is really interesting, is where Rich is saying that a good mortgage brokerage that's got good data is future saleable.
Yeah,
that's warmed my heart. My target is 8 holidays a year, and I'm on track. I've had 6 already this year. I've just came back from Croatia yesterday.
Good lad.
I went to Croatia last week, actually, as well.
Bloody hot. Bloody hot.
Yeah, 35 degrees.
The biggest thing I've learned off Rich over the years, and it's a real holistic thing, don't deal with any level of negativity with anybody. I can't even bear to be around people who have got a bad word about the weather. They start whinging about the weather, I'm out the door. That's the biggest thing I've learned off Rich over the years. Don't have any negativity in your life. Anything negative, get rid of them.
Yeah,
Clients,
contagious.
colleagues, whatever. Telling you. So, no direct questions from me, but just observation on Rich's brilliant philosophies.
Thanks, Nick. The day you want to sell your business, mate, give us a ring. I'll have a queue. I'll have a queue for your business because it's quality.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Will. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Anybody else got anything for Rich?
Got to be like that, didn't it?
No. Fair dues. Well,
When are you opening your network, Rich?
I couldn't possibly say. I just help people. I help people. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, on the Will's side, Rich, is that something you're going to provide the software for? Is that what you're looking to start now?
It's done. It's ready now. It's
Right.
done. It's mint. Give us a ring.
Yeah, well,
Give us a ring.
yeah. So if anybody wants to get in touch with you, Rich, what's the best way? I know you mentioned because you're not on LinkedIn, are you?
I'm not on LinkedIn, and I'm not on. Put my email address on me phone. They've all got my phone number. Put my phone number up on your LinkedIn thing, and then drop us a WhatsApp. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I'll post this and I'll put your phone number below, and you've got an email address, haven't you? So you are partly in the digital world, but
I am.
yeah.
Hey, what about me brand and all that, man? You know.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. Yeah. It's get in there.
Can I leave you all with 2 pearls of wisdom that I'll live by? Because I've probably worn the t-shirt that you're about to wear later on. 2 rules of life that I live by, and my wife and my daughter and my son, we live by this. And if you get these ingrained in your head, you're going to be all right. First rule I have in life is life's not fair. So deal with that, because it's not fair. Things will happen and you'll think, oh God, that's just not fair. It's not fair. So get on with it. If it doesn't kill you, it doesn't matter. Get on with it. And the second rule in life, that if you're prepared for this, you'll have a great life, is that people let you down. They're the 2 rules in life that you live by. It's not fair and people let you down. If you can get over those 2 things, you can have an absolute belter. And like I said before, protection is untapped. Decide you want to do it and just bloody do it. It's a proper job. If you want to find out how to do, give us a shout, or ask Dan, or ask somebody, ask Nick Brown how to do protection, or Michelle, or anyone else who does it. There's 0 competition in protection. If you're into mortgages, which you are, and you want to position yourselves in mortgages for the next X years ahead, be in the market where the mortgages need advice. You're self-employed, you're limited company directors, your buy-to-let portfolios, your doctors with private practice earnings. The ones that need advice are the ones that need you. Your normal Mr. and Mrs. Mortgage on a normal one, the lenders are going to make it so easy for them to go straight in the lender's back office. You won't even see it for dust. So position yourself in the advice market, and that's a great place to be. And then I was with a multi-millionaire yesterday, and I said, can you give me 1 pearl of advice, please? And how you become a multi-millionaire with his business? He said, yep. I said, what is it? He said, the key to growing a business successfully and sustainably, okay, is service. Make sure your service is the best it can possibly be and better than anyone else's. And they'll all come back and they'll all tell their friends. Yeah. And if you take those 3 things away from me spouting on, you're in a great place against the backdrop of a booming mortgage market. So despite the idiots changing seats in the House of Commons, our economy is fantastic. It's better than all the other economies. Don't read the negative press. We're booming. It's happening. Interest rates are going down. Inflation's going down. Houses are getting built. Fill your boots and stop moaning and whinging and get on with it. But get in your helicopter over the weekend, reset your goals, decide what you want to do with your life, with you and your family, write them down and get on with it. And enjoy the life that you deserve. Amen.
Amen.
I do.
Beautiful. Cheers, Rich. Again, if anyone wants to get in touch with Rich, I'll post this on LinkedIn, on my group. If anyone wants to find my group. It's on Facebook. It's called New Age Advisor.
Yeah.
And if anybody does want any help from Rich or me, again, if you want protection help, we do a course with a guy called Gary Waters. Some of you will have heard of him. He's really good at protection. So we do a course included our New Age Advisor thing, just as a bit of a shameless plug back on what you said, Rich. But yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much for your attention.
So
I hope
Elliot,
you'll tune from it.
Elliot, Rich, Georgie Boy, Michelle, Nick, and Johnny, lovely to see you again. Best of luck. Enjoy yourselves. Kick ass. And remember how good you are. Right? Remember how good you are. You're amazing. Done. See you later. Bye bye.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Rich.
Thanks,
Cheers.
everyone.
Good, guys.